Hi everyone, please subscribe my YouTube channel. I'm sharing this because I need to get it off my chest. My wife walked out on me, and my kids sided with her. Years later, they're reaching out to reconnect, but I told them to hold on to the same attitude they had when they chose her over me. When I was 23, I thought I had life all figured out. I married my college sweetheart, Emily. She was vibrant, bold, the kind of person who lit up any room without effort. I was more reserved, steady, the one who kept things grounded. We complemented each other, or so I believed. By 34, we had 3 kids, Ava, 10, Lucas, 8, and Ethan, 5. I worked long hours running a construction business while Emily stayed home with the kids. To the outside world, we were picture perfect. Weekend barbecues, family snapshots at the lake, holiday cards with coordinated outfits. But beneath the happy facade, our marriage was crumbling in ways I didn't fully grasp at the time. One Thursday evening, I came home early from a project, excited to take Emily out for dinner. Instead, I found her at the kitchen table with a man I knew, our neighbor, Mark, the guy who'd give me a friendly nod every morning as I headed to work. The look on her face said it all before she even spoke. I didn't shout or break anything. I just stood there frozen. Something inside me shattered silently. We divorced a few months later. For the kids' sake, I kept things amicable. We agreed not to tell them the real reason, just that Mom and Dad drifted apart. I thought I was shielding them. Looking back, that silence was my biggest regret, because Emily didn't stay quiet. Slowly, my kids started pulling away. It began with small things, shorter visits, distant attitudes, ignored texts. By the time Ava was 14, she looked me in the eye and said, "You destroyed everything, Dad. You're why we're not a family anymore." I had no idea where she got that story, but I could guess. By the time Ethan was 17, all 3 barely acknowledged me except to ask for money or throw insults. Emily had painted me as the bad guy, the one who gave up on our family. I tried to tell them the truth, but Emily warned me she'd make life hell for me and my mom if I ever spoke about her affair. She was thriving in real estate by then, with connections, money, and a charm she wielded like a weapon. I was too worn out to fight, so I stayed silent and watched my kids become strangers who despised me. 2 years later, I was utterly alone. The kids stopped responding to my messages. They didn't come for holidays. At Ethan's graduation, they treated me like some awkward acquaintance who didn't belong. One night, after months of feeling like a ghost, I hit rock bottom. A bottle of whiskey, a handful of pills, and a note that just read, "I did my best." I woke up in a hospital with my boss and closest friend, Tom, by my side. He didn't preach. He just said, "You need a fresh start, man. You can't keep living in a house full of memories." A month later, Tom offered me a transfer to manage a branch of our company in Oregon, halfway across the country. I took it, packed my life into a moving truck, and drove away. In Oregon, I met Claire. She was the opposite of Emily, gentle, introspective kind. She worked at a small bookstore, loved quiet sunrises, and somehow saw worth in broken things. She didn't try to fix me. She just sat with me until I could breathe again. 10 months later, we started dating. 3 years after that, we married. Now we have 2 kids, Mia and Owen, ages 6 and 4. They call me the Pancake King. I read them bedtime stories, and sometimes when Claire's asleep beside me, I look at them and think this is what calm feels like. I'd built a life that didn't hurt to live. That was over a decade ago. I hadn't heard from my older kids since. After my mom passed, I stopped asking for updates. She used to tell me about their birthdays, graduations, weddings, but each update ripped open old wounds. So I told her, "Mom, please, no more, I can't take it." Then last week my phone rang with my old hometown's area code. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. "Dad," a trembling voice said. My heart stopped. It was Ava. Before I could think, I said, "Wrong number," and hung up. Then I blocked her. It took hours to stop shaking, to process the flood of memories. I called my uncle that night, and he confirmed Ava had been trying to reach me, wanting to reconnect. But after all these years, their words, their silence, their pain, I wasn't sure I could open that door again. My therapist made time for me that Monday. I took the day off work. Claire sat with me as I wrote down every memory, every betrayal, every ounce of guilt I still carried. We decided I'd respond by email. No calls, no visits, not yet. I needed boundaries. Part of me wondered if I was being harsh, but honestly, I was scared. I didn't want Mia and Owen to get attached to people who might disappear when things got tough. I know I cut my older kids off, but deep down, I felt they abandoned me first. They believed a version of me their mother created to cover her own choices. Now, years later, they wanted to talk, but I'd rebuilt my life brick by brick, and I couldn't risk it crumbling again. I sent over an email address with Claire typing because my hands shook too much. I haven't heard back yet. Maybe I won't, and maybe that's okay. I'm not that broken man anymore. I'm a dad again, to two amazing kids who see me as their safe harbor. I'm a husband to a woman who shows me love can heal without asking for anything in return. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive the past, but I've learned something vital. Sometimes walking away isn't spite, it's survival. And when people who left you suddenly want back in, it's okay to say, gently but firmly, keep that same energy. 3 weeks after sending Ava that email, I tried to let it go, but I checked my inbox every night despite promising myself I wouldn't. Then one evening there it was, an email titled Dad. I stared at it for nearly an hour before opening it. It began softly. I've been thinking about you a lot, Ava wrote. Mom told us things that weren't true. I just want to talk. For a moment, hope flickered inside me. We emailed back and forth for a month, short, careful messages. I told her about my life in Oregon, about Claire, Mia, and Owen. She shared that she's in marketing now, married with a daughter named Chloe. I thought maybe we were starting fresh. Then she suggested a family call with her, Lucas, and Ethan. Claire was wary but said, "If you're ready, I'm behind you." So one Sunday I sat in my study, took a deep breath, and joined the call. It was awkward at first. Ava gave a nervous smile. Lucas barely looked at the screen. Ethan stayed muted most of the time. Then came the first jab. "So you just moved across the country and started a new family, huh?" Lucas said. It wasn't the words, it was the tone, sharp and accusing, like I'd abandoned them. "I didn't move to erase you," I said calmly. "I moved because I had nothing left. You all stopped talking to me." Ava sighed. "Well, you didn't exactly fight for us, did you?" I was stunned. After years of taking the blame, of staying quiet, they still couldn't see me. I tried to explain that I kept silent to protect them, that their mom made threats, that I was barely holding on. Ethan finally spoke. "Mom said you left because she wasn't enough for you, that you wanted someone younger, that you didn't care about us." My throat tightened. "That's not true," I said. "I left because she cheated. I stayed quiet to spare you." Ava's eyes narrowed. "You're saying Mom cheated, now you want to trash her after all this time?" That's when I realized this wasn't about rebuilding, it was an ambush. The next few weeks were a mess. At first, Ava acted like she wanted to reconnect. She called often, sent photos of Chloe, asked about the kids. I thought things were getting better. Then the guilt trip started. "Chloe's birthday is coming up," Ava said one evening. "It'd mean a lot if you sent something to show you care." I sent a small gift, a wooden puzzle and a card. On the next call, Lucas jumped in. "Really, Dad, that's all you could do? You've got money for your new family, but not for us?" I was floored. They never asked how I survived those years alone, how I almost didn't. They didn't care about the nights I sobbed, missing them. They saw me as a bank account, just like Emily used to. Then Ava asked for help with a temporary financial issue. She said it was a one-time thing. I sent a small amount, enough to show goodwill. 2 weeks later, Lucas asked for the same. When I said I couldn't keep giving, Ava snapped, "Wow, you've really changed. Guess we were right about you." That's when I saw it clearly. They weren't looking for a dad. They wanted validation, cash, and a scapegoat for their problems. It all came crashing down when they announced they were visiting. No discussion, just a text. "We're coming to Oregon next weekend. The kids want to meet their siblings." Claire and I were caught off guard, but we prepared. She made a big dinner. We cleaned the house top to bottom. When they arrived, they were polite for about 10 minutes. Then Ava started wandering, making comments. "Nice place," she said. "Must be great living like this. Ever think we might have wanted a home like this growing up?" Lucas nodded. "Guess Dad saved the good years for his new family." Even Ethan, who'd been quiet, chimed in. "You must feel great playing perfect dad now." I was speechless. Mia ran in with a drawing she'd made of all of us together. "Look, Daddy," she said proudly. Ava gave a tight smile. "Cute," she muttered, then looked at me. "Must be nice getting a second chance, huh?" That was the breaking point. I looked at these adults who were once my kids and realized there was nothing left but resentment. "I think you need to leave," I said quietly. Ava looked stunned. "What? Leave," I repeated. "I tried, I let you in, I opened my home. But you're not here to reconnect, you're here to punish me for something I didn't do." Lucas scoffed. "You're so selfish." I walked to the door, opened it, and said, "Then I guess I'm finally living up to your story." They left without a word. Claire hugged me as the door closed. I didn't cry. I just stood there, breathing, feeling both shattered and liberated. That night, I sat on the porch until dawn. I thought about the young version of myself who only wanted to be a good dad. And I realized I was one. I showed up. I sacrificed. I loved them. They hated me. But love doesn't mean letting people tear you apart repeatedly. The next day, I blocked their numbers, deleted their emails, and for the first time, I felt no guilt, just peace. Now my life is simple. I coach Owen's Little League team. Mia and I plant flowers every spring. Claire and I share quiet coffee mornings on the porch. Sometimes I think of Ava, Lucas, and Ethan. I hope they're happy. I hope they someday understand what truth means. But I don't want them in my life anymore. I waited years for them to see me, and when they finally did, they saw only the villain their mother invented. So I let go fully, because sometimes the only way to heal is to accept that some stories end without resolution. And peace is worth more than any reunion. This time, when I walked away, I didn't look back.